Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sisters of the Strange. I am Landrey.
And I'm Shae.
And before we get started on this week's topic, I just kind of wanted to go over a few things from the last episode. First off, thanks to all of our listeners for helping us kickstart this podcast. We've enjoyed researching, editing, and getting all of this put together. Please stick around as we learn the ins and outs to all of this. We know last week's episode was not perfect, but if we waited to release the perfect episode, we would never start this journey. So again, thank you for being here for that.
Thank you.
And now kind of on to update a little bit of last week's story. We talked about Gus and how our dad said he acquired Gus, but I actually got to be with my aunt last week, and she was also raised in that same house. So I kind of asked her point of view on Gus, and she said that her and our dad was using a Ouija board. I don't know why our dad didn't tell us that. I think he was probably trying to make us not.
Yeah, he was probably like, let's not put that in the girl's head.
Let's not do that. But she said they used a Ouija board at their old house and got the name Gus, and that he had been some type of like army man or an airman and had been hung in one of the trees on the property.
Yeah, it makes his story like seem so much darker to me.
Yeah, it really does kind of freak me out more because we always thought that he was just like super nice. He was mischievous, like he would turn lights on and off, or you mentioned he turned the stove on and off.
Yeah, he was a chill guy.
But it is scary that he came through a Ouija board because they just are like ominous. But I think it'd be used for good, I guess, if you wanted him to be.
I will never touch a Ouija board.
No, I'm good. I mean, maybe touch it, but like not play with it. Maybe like lay a finger on a corner, but I'm not doing anything with it. But yeah, so Aunt Karen updated me on that and some more things, which I've already kind of mentioned to Shae about, but I feel like I need to kind of let some listeners know because there's just kind of some weird little coincidences. We recorded last week's episode, the Halloween episode, about 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday. And I had to fly to town that following Thursday for a funeral. And I thought it was strange that in the story, Shae read a story about a guy named Melvin. And then she made a Britney Spears joke, but I took it out. It's not in the final cut. But she made a Britney Spears joke. And I was like, what are the odds she mentions the name Britney and Mel in the same day whenever I was flying out to a funeral for a man named Mel. And his daughter is Britney and she's my best friend. And like that's who I was kind of flying to be there with. And so it's just kind of a weird little coincidence. But then on Thursday morning, getting to the airport, I was like, oh, I need to download a podcast to listen to on the plane. It was like a 2.5 hour plane ride. I was like, I just need something to kind of bide my time. And I downloaded a few episodes of my favorite podcast. And then when I got onto the plane and was going to put one on, the story was like Mel's Hole. And I was like, oh,
here we go again.
Yeah. So we're going to listen to that one. So I listened to that one. It was about a weird hole and disappearances and weird. It was weird. But then another weird thing, it's like Mel was trying to like talk to me. He's like, hey, girl.
Yeah, he was
I see you coming.
Present.
Yeah, he's like, I see you coming to my funeral. Like, let's hang out.
Crazy.
Yeah, so we had to pick up my aunt who has been with Mel, I think for about like the last 8 to 10 years. They've been together for quite a while. And we were going to pick her up from the airport. And the airport she was flying into is quite literally a one-way airport, like one plane at a time. The weirdest thing is that there was a military plane there as well. And it had like its rotors, engines, all of that on. And I was with Brittany and her dad. The thing that they like bonded over the most was that they were both in the military.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like a weird, I was like, Brittany, do you see that? And the moon was right above it. And like she started getting teary eyed. And then you look over to the doors entering the airport and it says almost heaven across the doors.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of sweet, but kind of just like
bittersweet.
Very weird. And it was weird that it was the timing that like Aunt Karen was flying in.
Yeah. Because everybody was there.
But Brittany had mentioned that the 2 days before it had rained and was just like sky falling out for 2 days. And then the day that we both got there, it was just like sunshine. And she was like, I think he's kind of like happy that like y'all are here. And then the final part of that was we were at his daughter's apartment and she had gone through her closet and was looking for something. I can't remember what she was looking for, but she was like, it's not normally in my closet, but she couldn't find it, looked through it, and then picked up this like old pocket watch and it was set to 6:25, which is the time that he passed away.
Ooh.
And so it was really strange.
That gives me chills.
Yeah.
Really though.
I will say, I don't want to go too far out. I don't want to like hurt any of the family, but they did spread a lot of awareness that he lost his life to depression. And so we will have like suicide hot links and stuff in the notes.
Yeah. I mean, people make it so taboo, but really it's something that we should be talking about more often.
We will have some things for that just in our show notes and
just to bring awareness.
Yeah, you're never alone. We just want to have everyone out there for it. Okay. So are you ready to get into your topic?
My topic?
Your topic.
Yes. So my specialty is murder. I love murder.
She creepy liked it. If I ever go missing, we know where to look.
Yeah. How to Get Away with Murder with Shae and Landrey. Yeah.
Honestly.
So for my topic this week, I am going to be talking about the story of Lizzie Borden. So this is an old one, and I dug as far as I could into this so that I could get all the information because there are so many theories about this.
I watched 2 different YouTube shows that do Lizzie Borden, like the Sam and Colby episode, and then I watched just a BuzzFeed episode. Both of their research was almost drastically different.
Really?
Yes. They both had completely different things going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this case.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what you've got.
I dug through forums and I mean, the testimonies I read through. We'll get into it. Okay, let's just get into it. So I wanted to start us off with a little fun rhyme that kept popping up whenever I would just search Lizzie Borden, like just to get the basics of the case. It's not really filled with facts, but I thought it was real fun and cutesy. So it goes like this. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. How fun is that?
Yay!
It's so cute. It's like Ring Around the Rosie.
Yeah, which is actually about the plague.
Yeah, sounds so fun and cute. And it's about murder.
Yeah, it's about dying.
So this case is one of the most famous in American history, and it's called the Major Crime of the Gilded Age. So Lizzie Borden was tried in court for the murder of her stepmother and father that occurred on August 4th, 1892 in Fall River, Massachusetts. Lizzie was the daughter of a well-known and very wealthy businessman, Andrew Borden, who was remarried in 1865, only 3 years after the death of Lizzie's mother. And it's been said that Lizzie and her sister Emma were always at odds with their dad and their stepmom, mostly over money or divisions of the family's properties. They had lots of properties all over. Her dad was very wealthy, goes back and forth of the fact that, like, was she in the will or was she not in the will, blah, blah, blah. So they were always fighting about stuff like that. So we're going to go back a little bit, starting from the very beginning. Flashback before the murders in 1891, there is a daytime robbery of cash and jewelry at the Borden home. So Lizzie and her sister Emma and Bridget are at home during this time. Lizzie was the family's prime suspect, as she was just recently accused of shoplifting by a local merchant. So she's a little mischievous.
Oh, she has a record.
Yeah, she's a little sus. From this time forward, the doors to the Borden home, inside and out, are kept locked, which becomes an important part of this story. And I'll get into it when we go through the timeline, just so that I can try to make it make sense, because it's kind of convoluted, but we'll get there. So again, just before the murders in May or June of 1892, so this is a year later after the daytime robbery, Andrew, which is Mr. Borden, was also responsible for killing Lizzie's pigeons with a hatchet. So she had a bunch of pigeons that she had in their family barn that she kind of just like took care of. She roosted them in there, fed them in there. They just kind of hung out. I don't know why people have pet pigeons. I feel like that's a weird pet to have because they have no benefit whatsoever. Well, they're very dumb.
Tell that to your grandmother because she had a horde of them.
Yeah. Well,
ask Granny, why do we have pigeons, Granny?
Why do people keep pigeons? It just doesn't make sense.
And they're really loud and really annoying and they poop everywhere.
Yes. Have you ever heard the theory that the pigeons work for the government? That they're not real?
I could see it. They're like psyops.
Do an episode on
they're
that.
psyops.
Yeah. We'll do an episode on that maybe. So another strange happening before the murders. Now, this is a couple of days before the murders, same year, August 2nd. The entire family fell ill and Mrs. Borden suspected that they had been poisoned. Went to their family doctor, but it was discovered just to be food poisoning. But apparently she was very paranoid because Mr. Borden wasn't very well liked. I also need to mention that Lizzie's uncle John Morse was staying with the Bordens the day before the murders. So he came into town and arrived around 1:30 p.m. and claims to have left the house around 4 p.m. and did not return until 8:45 p.m. after the murders occurred. So John claims that he had not seen Lizzie at all from when he arrived Wednesday until he returned Thursday after the murders. And that's when he sees her, is when he comes home and all of the investigating is going on. Because Lizzie claims that she was sick like everybody else. So she was just up in her room. She didn't come down to eat breakfast. She didn't come down to eat lunch. She didn't come down to eat dinner the night before.
Yeah.
So he never saw her.
Weird.
So let's get into the timeline. So Thursday morning, August 4th, 1892, Mr. Borden went to the post office, left his wife and their Irish maid, her name is Bridget Sullivan, and Lizzie, which is according to her testimony, left them all at home. He's the only person to leave the house that morning through the front door, which had 3 different locking mechanisms on it, one of which can only be opened from the inside. So that's where this funky lock thing comes in. Because even though he has a key to get in outside, somebody still has to unlock the spring lock on the inside to let him in the house.
Yes, my back door is like that.
So I thought that was weird. I tried to like get as much information on that as I could because I felt like that's really important.
Yeah.
As far as theories go.
Literally no one can get in unless someone is already in the house to let you in.
Right. So Bridget, the maid, testifies that about 10:30 a.m., she heard Mr. Borden at the door trying to get in. So she opened the door for him and said that Lizzie was upstairs at this time because she heard her laugh up there. Lizzie also testified that she was upstairs when her dad got home. So Bridget's downstairs. She lets him in. She hears Lizzie's upstairs laughing, which she accredits to the fact that Bridget, when she was trying to open the door, she was fidgeting with it and she couldn't get it open. So she like said some like exclamation or something,
yeah,
like oh shit, which probably was not what she said, but
yeah. Oh gee willy gollers.
Oh gee willikers. Yeah.
What do you say in 1982? 1892.
The testimony says pshaw is what she said, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot, but I just did it anyway. So
well, that's what I say when I'm pissed off too.
So Bridget thinks that Lizzie was laughing because she heard her say that from upstairs. The voice carries in the house very clearly, obviously, if Bridget thinks that she can hear her from downstairs and she's upstairs. So keep that in mind as well. So Lizzie's upstairs when her dad gets home. When he arrives home and he sits on the couch, Lizzie comes downstairs and tells Mr. Borden that someone had brought a letter summoning Abby out of the house and that she was not home. But she was upstairs and already had been murdered at this time. She's dead. 19 blows to the back of the head from a hatchet. Still laying up there in the kneeling position as she was when she was cleaning the floors. So she's dead upstairs. Lizzie lies to her father and said, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if she was lying. That's what she told him, although she was already upstairs dead and Lizzie was also upstairs. Mr. Borden sits on the couch for a nap and tells Lizzie to leave him. She claims that she was in the dining room ironing handkerchiefs and then left and went to the barn to look for irons because they were going to go fishing at their family farm that weekend. So she was going to look for irons for the fishing poles, like weights. And then she goes to the loft and remains up there for half an hour eating peaches. Mm-hmm. She's just chilling. At the same time, the maid, Bridget, she had gone upstairs to her attic room. This was all in testimony.
Yeah.
So Lizzie's like, oh yeah, my dad laid down for a nap. I tried to like make him comfortable. I asked him if he wanted me to leave the window open. I was trying to like fluff and tuck him basically. And he just told me, oh, just leave me. I'm going to lay down for a nap. Whatever. So she's like, okay. And she goes to the barn, allegedly. So she claims that at 11:15 a.m., she came back in and found her father dead on the couch and seemed to be, quote, repeatedly struck in the head with a sharp instrument, end quote. She says that she called Bridget downstairs to tell her and then told her to call Dr. Bowen, which was their family doctor. She then goes and tells a neighbor that she was in the barn at the time of the murders.
She's like, let me get this out there that I was not in this house.
Let me get my alibi.
Yeah.
After he's dead.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me go tell the neighbor I was in the barn.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would think about when I find my father dead inside.
Yeah. Not crying.
Let me not put myself in this house. So police are notified at this time. Police are in and out of the home all that evening, and doctors even performed the post-mortem on the dining room table.
Which is disgusting.
It was just so gross, so unsanitary. What are we doing in the 1800s?
I wonder where that kitchen table is now.
I just don't like that.
I want to know who has the table now.
That's a good question. So police are in and out. When Lizzie is questioned by the police, and when they're speaking to her and they're calling Abby her mother, she's very detached and states, quote, she's not my mother, she's my stepmother. So she's like, that is not my mom. Don't disrespect me like that, basically.
That is also not something I would be saying if they just found her dead upstairs.
At least pretend that you give a shit.
Put water in your eyeballs, do something. Figure it out, girl.
If you're trying to make yourself not seem guilty, if you are guilty or if you're not, girl.
Think of something sad to cry about real quick.
Think about them pigeons.
Yeah. Think about your pigeons that you're pissed off at.
Your pigeons are dead.
Yeah. Start
Cry
crying,
about
girl.
That. Anyway, this is a quick timeline of like over the next like couple of months. So August 6th, there's a funeral service. It's held at their home. August 7th, Lizzie's sister Emma sees her burning a dress in the kitchen on the stove. Why are we doing that?
No.
For what reason do you need to burn your dress on the stove?
We've got burn barrels.
Yeah.
At least a burn barrel outside. Hey, but maybe she was trying not to do it outside because it's even more suspicious than just being seen by one person in the house.
Her sister, she was probably like, she got my back.
Yeah, whatever, girly. Go off, sis.
I would be your alibi.
Yeah, it'd be yours too. You're going to call me and be like,
hey, murdered my parents. Not if you murdered our parents.
Yeah, not a parent.
I'd be like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, especially because, I mean, no offense to the sister or whatever, but she got a lot to gain if she just throws the other sister under the bus. She's getting all the inheritance. Like, money does a lot of things. Yeah, really.
Money talks, baby. So August 11th, a few days later, Lizzie is arrested for the murders, and she pleads not guilty the next day. She's like, no, dude, that wasn't me. She's the only person arrested or suspected for these murders.
She's just singing the Shaggy "It Wasn't Me" song.
It wasn't me. Amen. She's like sticking to her story. So about a week later, August 22nd to the 23rd is the preliminary hearing where the judge finds probable cause to try Lizzie for murder. He's like, yeah, she probably did it. She done it. Let's try her. So a couple months later, November 31st, an employee at the drugstore comes forward and tells the grand jury about Lizzie trying to buy poison the day before the murders. And the jury issues indictment against Lizzie 2 days later.
What is indictment?
So,
do you know what that means? I don't know what it means.
I watch a lot of like Law and Order and stuff, and I just really don't know. I think that means like she wasn't arrested and like she didn't have to like go to jail until trial.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
I have no idea either. That's why I'm asking.
Fact check me. I don't know. If you're a lawyer or a police officer or a judge, let me know because I truly don't know.
I don't either. I should know.
I should probably figure that out. Yeah, we probably should know that. So June 5th, again, we're like months later, June 5th, 1893, the trial opens. So there's like a lot of time in between.
That's almost a whole year.
Yeah, there's a lot of time in between whenever she's like at the preliminary and tried until trial, like the legit trial. So June 20th, they go to trial. The jury comes to the verdict of not guilty. So we have all of these, pieces from the timeline of the murder based on testimony that I read. So that's all I put into this first part. So the not guilty sentencing, I feel partially has to do with the fact that they never found the murder weapon, is what I read. So like the hatchet. There were several hatchets and axes on the property, but all of them tested negative for human blood or prints. But they also, I think, didn't really investigate the scene as well as they should have because, hello, we're in the 1800s. Like, people are just trampling in and out of there.
Clearly, if they're doing autopsies on kitchen tables.
Yeah, it was gruesome. There was probably, it just seemed like it was not very well handled.
Well, it's probably not a very common thing in 1892 to find two people hatcheted in their heads.
Yeah. Also, the ME found, the medical examiner found deposits of gilt metal in one of Abby's cuts, indicating that the hatchet used was new. It was a brand new hatchet. So no one else was ever suspected or accused of this murder, like I said. And the circumstantial evidence in this case was very, very strong, meaning like it seems obvious that Lizzie did it. And there's like all these things that are like points to her. But even the judge said like she probably did it, but there was not nearly enough physical evidence for the jury to be like, oh yeah, she did it. There was no fingerprints. There was no murder weapon. No bloodstained clothes.
Well, she burned him on the stove.
She burned him on the stove. Yeah. So yeah, that's the facts and the timeline. So let's talk about the fact that Lizzie murdered her parents. In my opinion, there's no question.
No, it seems very obvious that it was her.
So this is like my opinion. These are my theories that I, based on my research, that I 100% wholly agree with. So she was the only one inside the house when Abby was murdered. Unless someone broke in, murdered Abby, hid for 90 minutes, or left and came back, which is highly unlikely without anybody seeing.
Yeah, and also with how you mentioned all the doors, how they have to be locked and you can only get through one room and up and down a hallway in one way. Like, yeah. Passing.
It was a 3-story house. There was 3 sets of stairs.
Yeah. And how you mentioned that you can hear throughout the whole home, like the front door, she could hear her laughing upstairs when she's opening the front door. So Lizzie realistically would hear somebody
if
coming
somebody
in,
else came in the house.
So that is a little.
And she could have said, oh yeah, somebody else came in here and did it. Yeah. Which I don't think she ever did either. She just denied, but there was no
blaming anyone else.
Yeah.
That's odd.
She was like, it wasn't me.
Well, I'd at least point a finger at somebody.
Right. Again, at least try.
Yeah.
At least try.
She's like, honestly, I don't even care at this point, guys.
So no forced entry into the home. Nothing was stolen. And Lizzie claims that she was downstairs when Abby was murdered. But during the time between when her dad was gone and when she left, when he got home, she was upstairs. So she was upstairs at some point.
Yeah.
And even if she was downstairs, like she claims, we didn't hear anybody tramping around upstairs and axing somebody 19 times.
Yeah.
Literally, there's going to be some
squeakage,
some sounds.
It's in 1892. Those floorboards are squeaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she was, like I said, she was murdered while her dad was gone. So, and she was upstairs when he got home.
See, yeah. So she's definitely, and there's, like you said, if the doors are locked, she's most likely, I don't know the layout of the house, I'd have to look. She's most likely walking past that room.
Yeah.
I did watch some of the shows today, so I got a little bit of background information. And one of the things they said is when they walked at least into the room where Abby was found, you could see her feet hanging out from the bed.
Under the bed.
Like you could see her feet. You couldn't see anything else, but like
if you like walked up to the top of the stairs.
Yeah, you could see her feet at least. So she should have at least, but also to be fair, like I don't look in rooms as I walk by them because I'm paranoid all the time of something being in there staring at me.
The hat man standing there staring at you.
Stop, because my story that I did research on for later, my second, has Hat Man. So thank you for that.
Cute.
Cool. Now I'm going to Hat Man dreams tonight.
Oh, sorry.
And I have to drive home in the woods.
And it'll be fine.
Dark.
It'll be fine.
It's
He's
like
hiding. So the day before, she was witnessed and testified in court trying to buy prussic acid at the drugstore. And the pharmacist was like, no, I don't think you need that.
We don't just sell that.
Yeah. She was claiming that she was needing it to clean some sheepskin rug or coat or something that just seems, why do you need acid for that?
No, I wish the jury would have been like, what article of clothing, what rug? Show it to me. Bring it tomorrow.
Let's see.
Show and tell tomorrow. Bring me the rug.
Why are you trying to buy acid?
Yeah. Show me the rug that you want to clean. Show me what it is that needs the acid.
That's just unnecessary. Acid.
Okay. That is just wild. Yeah. So she's the poison in her.
Yeah, she's the poison in her. There's theories that the reason that the family got sick the day before the murders was that she was using arsenic and she put arsenic in their food, but she didn't use enough.
Yeah. Seeing her being quote unquote sick and hiding out in her room.
Yeah. Was she really? Nobody saw her actually be sick.
See, and that's what's weird to me as well, is you kind of mentioned that the uncle said he didn't see her at all because she was sick, but then she was found out buying something. But he said she didn't leave her room because she didn't feel good. So I'm like, yeah, what all stories is she mixing up in here?
I think she just, she didn't know what she was saying anymore. She just was going
That's what happens when you do little white lies.
They all add up.
Yeah, you crisscross.
So remember that note that I told you about that Lizzie said she told her dad that Abby was summoned by a note and she needed to leave the house and that she wasn't there. There was no note found for her to leave the house. And she told the same lie to police as well. And they searched for the note and it was never found.
Yeah. And you would think that like, since someone came forward saying, hey, she was trying to buy this acid, this day, surely someone would come forward and be like, hey, I delivered the note, or hey, I was the one sending the note.
Yeah.
Like verify it in some way. And it's not verified at all.
So either they didn't look far enough into that to see if anybody actually sent it, or they just looked for the note and was like, oh yeah, we don't find it. But still, the note would still be there.
Yeah.
Because she didn't leave the house.
No.
So she didn't take it with her.
And I'm not getting a note and then cleaning my carpet.
Yeah.
I'm taking the note and I'm going wherever I'm not having to clean.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Here we go again. Remember how she said that she was in the barn at the time her father was murdered? Coincidentally.
Yeah.
Well, the police went out there and looked and they found no footprints in the barn, which surely the floor of that barn was like dirt.
Yeah. Surely everything's dusty in that thing.
There was no footprints. So, I mean, she has to be lying.
Yeah. And I'm also not going to go sit and eat peaches in a barn when I can go and eat peaches like in the grass or
in
at
my
a kitchen.
house.
Yeah. At a kitchen table, something.
It was August. It was well, I don't know. It was probably hot. I don't know how it gets in Massachusetts. But it was August. August in Texas, boiling.
Yeah, I'm not
going outside nowhere to eat nothing.
But still, I'm going to go eat in my kitchen table because you're going to clean your peach too with your sink.
What? Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to clean my ass, my peach.
I was like, what? I zoned out for a second. So this just keeps going. It just keeps getting better. So the dress that her sister said that she saw her burning. Yeah, when she was asked about it, she said that she was destroying it because it was stained with old paint.
What color paint?
Probably red, if I had to guess. Lion ass. Girl, you just dig in that hole.
Do not burn clothes after your dad after your parents have been murdered.
Ever.
Don't. Like, that's really giving you some reasons.
Go try to buy the acid again.
Yes, at least try the acid again.
Before you burn it. Do something else.
I don't even have words.
So to kind of play off the paint theory, I also read a theory that when they were investigating, which this part seems kind of like smart, like it was kind of maybe premeditated, sort of, which I think it probably was anyway, but it's a theory that when they were investigating the house and looking for clues, they had come across like a barrel, not a barrel, but like a bucket, an old bucket of clothes that did have blood on them, but she said she was on her period. So they were like, okay,
Not touching those.
not touching those.
What?
Yeah. So that could have been the same clothes, same blood, but they were just like, oh, she's on her cycle.
That's
okay,
gross.
that's just.
We're just not going to touch those. How long does it take you to clean bloody clothes, though? You
Girl,
know, if I
I
was
don't
bleeding
know.
all over the place and didn't have like any, feminine products, pretty sure I'd be taking those clothes off and cleaning them pretty quickly.
Yeah, she's just putting them in a bucket. Which again, we're in the 1800s.
Yeah, things are different. Hygiene is a completely different topic.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember reading that and I was like,
But that honestly, really good theory.
Right.
Like, because she's like,
if she thought to say
geez,
that.
she's like, they're not going to touch this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not touching it. If you say that's your period blood, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, but as a investigator, as a police officer, you should still probably test that blood
Yeah, investigate.
with a gruesome murder in the house.
Especially, yeah, literally you have dad's blood right here. Mom's stepmom, not my mom, stepmom's blood right here. You have
and mystery blood.
Just a brain. Just use your brain a little bit.
So yeah, there's that little tidbit of information. Do with that what you will. There's also people who have theories about an accomplice, that maybe the uncle was in on it because he was there, but that just doesn't really make sense to me in any way that I think about it. Because Lizzie testified that he had left before 9 a.m. that morning and did not return until that afternoon after the murders. And he was gone across town visiting another one of his nieces, and he had like a amazing alibi.
Yeah, like airtight.
He had no motive.
The only motive he would have is Lizzie paying him off.
Yeah, that's true.
If she's getting finances out of it, that's the only motive. But if he has a solid alibi, he's not.
Right. And people said that his alibi was like too good. But I mean, it is kind of suspicious as far as the fact of it being like a too good of an alibi, because he remembered like really specific details, like the number on the cab car that he had taken across town. But like, why would you be thinking to remember that? Unless he just was one of those people who had like a photographic memory or something like that. But I don't think that it was ever like testified that he had a memory like that. But he was like, nope, this is what I was doing. This is where I was. This is who I was with. And this is the car that I took.
Okay, yeah, that is a little odd.
It is a little odd. But if he was involved and he knew it was going to happen, or he was working with Lizzie, why would he come to town at all?
Or let it be known that he was in town.
Right. Because he didn't live there. He was just coming to visit. So like, why would he even come if he wasn't actually going to get his hands dirty? Why not just stay until it was all over?
Yeah.
Like, why even bring your name into it?
That is pretty weird.
You know?
Yeah. But
So it
maybe
could go
Lizzie
either way
chose to do it when he
without
was
him.
there. Or no, when he was there to be like, oh, it's him.
we should look
He's
at the
randomly
uncle.
here and I'm going to point at him. That is odd though.
So yeah, that's a little weird to me that it could really go either way.
Yeah, I could see where the uncle could be paid off. That's where I wish bank statements or like paper trails or something like that existed, because it would be a lot easier to be like, oh, she paid him off.
Yeah.
You know, like later on.
Yeah. That he just became into like a lump sum of money.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because they're going to take clearly it is something that has been discussed before. Like I said, I watched the Sam and Colby episode, and then I watched BuzzFeed, and they both had completely different things to say. But in the Sam and Colby episode, I do believe it was Sam and Colby, they were talking about how Lizzie and them had multiple conversations on if she's in which you did mention.
Yes.
Is she in the will? Is she not?
Yes.
So then she clearly was concerned about the
the
money
money
that was coming to
situation.
her and the property and the home. So she's expecting this money. So then she could expect to get this money, pay somebody off for it.
Yeah, it's true.
But I almost feel like the maid, because the maid was there for the most part, I almost feel like the maid would know as well. Like
Yeah.
that if someone else was in the home.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
how you
because
said
she
she
was
has
there.
to let him in
Yeah.
in the door.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's weird to me about that means that someone had to have like seen him out as well.
Who?
The dad.
Oh.
Like, sorry, I kind of crisscross
No,
tracks
that's
there,
okay.
but how the dad is, they clearly have to unlock the door to let him in. So someone has to follow him to the door every morning and let him out to lock that extra lock.
Correct.
He can't lock that.
Yeah.
Which my door is the same. It's just my deadbolt. Actually, the key just doesn't work. So if I'm in the house and I lock the deadbolt, no one can get inside because the key just does not work. So like Aaron comes home and he
very
can't
similar
get
situation.
in. And so someone's having to open and close that, which is where someone had to let him out. And so I was like, what time did he leave? Did he leave?
He left at like 9:30.
So he was like
something.
gone way before mom was killed too.
Yeah.
But it's super weird that Abby is like, oh, or not Abby. Abby's who's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. Don't know where my brain went. Brain went somewhere.
Bye. On a journey. So yeah, that's all of my like theories that I feel like make the most sense, and things that I feel like are very important that point to the fact that Lizzie did this.
Yeah.
And there was nobody else accused. I mean, they questioned the uncle, but again, he had that incredible alibi.
Did they look at the maid at all?
They questioned her in court and she testified, and she basically, said her story pretty much lined up with Lizzie's.
Cahoots?
As far as
Do you believe that they could have done something together?
It's a possibility, I think, in the realm of possibility, but there's just not enough information for me to believe that.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. And I read forums. There is a Lizzie Borden forum that is insane. Any question that I had that I would Google, like a specific question, every time I would click on the link, it was that same forum that these people just be going in on.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
They're into it.
Very into it.
Whatever.
Well, it's such a question mark case because she was not guilty, apparently. So it's like, who did it? And it's still to this day, who did it?
I think she did. But I also could see where, now that you've mentioned the uncle, but I haven't done the research you've done, the uncle seems weird to me now, a little bit, just because how you said his stuff is too good.
Yeah. Very detailed.
Yeah. And I don't remember little things like that. Like
I
the
don't
cab
remember what
number.
I did this morning.
No, I don't even know what I listened to on the way here. And I was literally in my car less than an hour ago.
Yeah.
So I don't get that. But there is some people who are that way. Like Psych is a show, but I watched the show Psych, and his dad trained him to be overly observant.
Oh, yes.
To where they would get into a restaurant and the dad would be like, close, like the very first episode, his dad says, close your eyes. How many hats were in this? How many people were wearing a hat? He was like 12 or whatever. And his dad said, how many were wearing like a red hat? And he said 1.
That's nuts.
So there is, that is a show, but I do truly believe, because after I watched that show, I was like, I'm training my kids to be like that.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just.
Yeah, but also it was the 1800s.
But it is also so weird that he was randomly in town.
Well, apparently that was something that he came in and out, not often, but he did come and visit. That was his brother.
Wasn't super sporadic, I guess.
Yeah.
I go to my sister's house. I'm at your house right now.
Right. Yeah.
I go to Murphy's house all the time too. So
yeah. They just would come and visit, but he also had another family member and a niece that lived in that area.
Did the family member and niece get asked if he was there for certain?
Yeah, I believe so. And they said, yeah.
So then he was fine.
Yeah.
He could be suspicious to me. The maid is a little suspicious to me because you're a maid and you kind of had your hierarchy back then. Like if you're a maid, you're going to stay a maid. That's just kind of how it is. But Lizzie could have promised her like, hey, I'm going to do this and I can have a better life. So just stand up for me and I'll share that better life with you.
That's true. That's very true.
But I don't know.
I don't know what happened to the maid.
I don't know either. I know I've mentioned this episode 5 times, but in one of the episodes I watched, the ghost of the maid welcomed them. Like one of the mediums saw the ghost. So maybe I'm like, maybe she was just a really super nice person. Maybe she's not part of it. Maybe she was actually just
caught in
her
the
job
crossfire.
And yeah.
Yeah. Because poor girl, she was sick the day before and they had her outside washing windows.
Yeah. And if I hear that this person who has all this power just hatcheted these people like 19 times and 10 times.
Nobody's finger at her.
I'm not.
Not my finger, not nobody's.
No, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
I'm staying over here because I'm not getting hatcheted up either.
I ain't getting chopped.
And Lizzie could sully her reputation so fast. Yeah. Someone of power.
Oh, yeah,
the maid.
Absolutely.
So I think the maid maybe just got caught in it. But I think there is a lot of theories that the maid is involved.
Yeah, there is.
And she's probably I think she's just a cross-haired kind of girl. I think she just got stuck.
Yeah, I think she just got stuck because personally, that's why I looked more into the uncle, because I was like, okay, this is a possibility. But the more that I read into it, I was like, okay, no, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he was
gone all day.
Yeah.
He was gone all day.
Well, even Lizzie's story does match up that he was gone all day too. Like she didn't even try and point at him.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is so weird that she didn't try and point any fingers at anybody.
I thought so too.
That's so strange.
And they had asked her if there was anybody that her father had bad business dealings with. And she said, oh yeah, well, there was this one guy who came to the house a few days ago. And she said, I couldn't really understand what they were saying. I couldn't hear anything, but I heard him say he was talking to my father about this property and this business that he wanted to start in one of my father's properties. And my father shut him down and was like, no, I don't want you running this business there. And then the argument kind of got a little bit heated, but she didn't hear anything else, but she heard her father order him to leave. Basically, she heard him, they were kind of getting at it and he was like, you need to leave type thing.
Yeah.
But that was it. She had no other details in that conversation
it's a very viable thing for him to have been killed by a businessman like that. But his wife,
the wife
upstairs.
Yeah.
And like you said, no forced entry. Lizzie would have had to have let him in or the maid.
And he would have had to hide somewhere.
Yeah.
be very still for the dad not to hear or leave and come back, which that theory is just, I'd throw that away. Crumble that up, throw it in the trash.
Because you also have to think 1892, the door behind me just creaked. Don't like that. 1892, is there cars? Is there a lot of cars going on at that time? Like, what's your main mode of transportation? Is he going to leave, hop in one of the slow ass cars and go across town,
horse-drawn carriage,
and go sit somewhere for 3 minutes and turn around and come back because he's got like a hour and a half, 90-minute split period, whatever the time frame was.
Hour and a half, I think. 90 minutes, yeah.
Homie ain't going anywhere.
No,
because he's gonna make it there and he's not even gonna make it to his full destination before he has to turn around to get back to kill.
That's just stupid.
To kill old daddy.
Not daddy.
Not daddy.
Daddy Borden. No.
I hope you're in heaven, sir. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I also, because I'm a freak and a weirdo, read the autopsy reports. Just because I was interested. I looked at the autopsy photos. They're gnarly. And I just wanted to get all the details on the nasty, gruesome. And it really just is intense.
Cemented some shit for you.
Yeah. So Lizzie's father had 10 wounds to his head and face. The first one was 4 inches long, beginning at the low border of the left nasal bone, reaching the lower edge of the lower jaw, cutting through the nose, the upper lip, and the lower lip, and slightly into the bone of both jaws.
Can you imagine being woken up by getting hit in the face with the fucking hatchet?
Mm-hmm. No, I couldn't imagine that. Through your eyeball?
That makes my brain, that makes my head green.
Oh, I'm sorry, that one didn't go through his eyeball. But
the next one does.
One of them does. So yeah, that's gnarly. So keep that in mind, 4 inches long. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I just wanted to really point out the most brutal ones.
They all sound pretty brutal to me, girl.
It's just, it just really seals the deal. And if you're listening to this, then you're probably a freak like I am. So glad you're here.
Trigger warning, 3 minutes too late.
A little late. So the fourth one begins 2 inches above the left eyelid, connecting with another wound, and then down and out through the middle of the left eyebrow, through the eyeball, cutting it completely in half, and cutting off a piece of skull, 1.5 inches long and 1/2 inch wide.
Not the eyeball.
So there's some force. Yeah, eyeball. I don't like eyeballs. Just sliced his eyeball in half. There's some force behind that also to get...
genuinely have no words.
To cut off a piece of skull is just wild.
Yeah, she has some stamina swinging like that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
she's already done
She was a hefty gal, based on the pictures that I've seen. I can't say for certain.
Yeah.
But she seemed to be she probably had some... She was a country girl.
She'd be out here.
Working in the barn with her pigeons. She had to carry them feed sacks.
She'd be
She was working on the farm.
Oh, girl.
The 7th cut was 3 inches and penetrated the skull cavity with a transverse skull fracture, 4.5 inches long. So common denominator here is that most of these were 3 to 4 inches long. So they're all the same, which just really cements the fact that obviously they were hatcheted.
Yeah.
So the weapon's the same, obviously, we knew that, but it just really paints a picture.
Weird question based off your autopsy report.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever, because now forensics teams go in and they're like, blood splatter was this way, so it tells you if they're left or right-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think any of that was in play here.
No. Did that ever come across as maybe it was, this happened by someone who's right-handed?
Mm-mm.
Is she right-handed?
Yeah, I don't know.
That would have been a good thing now. That
know.
would have been definitely a certain thing because it could have placed her versus, but I don't know.
The specifics of murder investigations now I feel are
wildly advanced.
Yeah, which is incredible. The stuff that they can do because there's, like you said, there's blood splatter experts.
Yeah, exalysis.
Yeah, and people who just do that. I think that's nuts.
Yeah.
Trajectory. That's a big word. That was a big word for me.
2 claps. 2 claps for Shae.
Just to paint that picture and be able to see that is just crazy to me.
Yeah, they can make projections on how hard they were hit, where they were hit with how the person hitting them was,
how they were standing,
quite
exactly where they were standing,
based off of the blood and things like that, which would have been very beneficial to maybe say, oh, well, the uncle's left-handed and these were right-handed swings. That would have been a very beneficial.
Oh yeah,
which he already seems cleared, but you know what I mean. It would have broken things down just maybe a hair of an inch easier.
Mm-hmm. But again, that the physical evidence was just not there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, she burned it on the stove, so that's where it was at.
So the 9th cut was another 4 inch long, 2 inch wide, crushing bone and pushing skull into the brain. Womp womp.
Womp womp. That is such a strong
gnarly
hit.
Yeah. Yeah, pushing the skull into the brain is just nuts. So on Abby, she had 19 wounds, and everything after number 7 crushed skull into her brain.
That is insane. That is so much force and so much power and stamina for one. So that's like right there, force, stamina, all of that. That's wild. I would not be able to do that. The second part of that is, how is Lizzie upstairs, probably a few doors down, not hearing the thud of body hitting ground, even though she's already on the ground, or
her head had to have hit the ground,
or even just impact.
Yeah,
impact.
Yes.
How is she not hearing 19 impacts? How is she
like
not hearing?
Yes.
Gross. How is she not? All I could think of right now is my toes crushing grapes when you make wine.
Exactly.
How people do that. That's all I could think of.
Squelching.
Disgusting.
Love that word. The great adjective.
No longer, I still don't know my nouns versus adjectives. I used to play Mad Libs and I'd be like, I just like the word right there. But how do you not hear even just the rocking back and forth of the person who is swinging this
momentum.
axe? How is she not hearing that?
Yeah, somebody had to have heard it.
That's why I'm like, Lizzie girl, I'm sorry, baby, but it's you.
You were the only one inside the house.
It's the only option.
She was the only one in there, and nobody else heard anything. If they were in the house, they would have heard something.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Like, I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can continue on the autopsy.
That's okay.
I just am.
No, that was it for the autopsy.
Cemented there.
Yeah. And the photos, gnarly. I don't think we could probably not post those on Instagram. I don't think they will allow that.
There is censored versions.
Yeah,
of
but
just
those
like
aren't
where
as fun. I found like
That is fun. Girl, you're
Sorry, I'm
toxic.
nasty.
You're toxic.
I know. I found like a restored, enhanced photo of her father laying on the couch, which I can show it to you if you want. We can see if we can. I don't think they'll let us, but
yeah,
it's a really good photo of him just like laid out, and he doesn't have a face. So that's cool. I'm
also just going to let everyone know she works like trauma or in the ER or something. So she's
trauma. That's correct.
She can handle this.
I can handle
stuff.
it. Yeah. I can't say I enjoy it because that's just morbid.
Yeah.
But
it fascinates you.
It's educational.
But it fascinates you.
Yeah.
Everyone has their interests.
Yeah. It makes me sound like a psychopath. It's fine.
Well, you're never going to do it to somebody. You're fine.
Or am I?
Well,
watch your back.
I know. You work out all the time too. You could totally hatchet me 19 times. And I would have to use my inhaler to even think about running away. I'd have to use it and then run.
You're like, hold on.
Yeah, just pause for one moment because I have to like hold my breath after I use it too. Yeah. So give me at least 15 seconds.
Okay. I got you.
And then I'll run. At least I am fast.
Yeah.
I'll give me that.
I'll give it to you.
But I'm lazy as fuck, so I'm not getting far. At that rate, I'm like, I might as well just let her kill me.
Take me out. Take me out.
Genuinely. Just let me die.
Oh my God. No. Anyway. That's horrible. Where were we? God.
You just got done with the autopsy. We were just talking about how you were enjoying the autopsy. That was it.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and the photos that came along with it. So anyway, we'll see what we can do about that. So Lizzie got to live out her life in Fall River, Massachusetts. She didn't leave. She stayed there and died on June 1st, 1927 at age 66. And quite literally took it all to her grave. So we will never know for sure. I mean, we will never know.
She ever get married? Kids?
I don't
anything?
think so.
That is crazy.
Well, as far as I know. This is just where my research ends. The original home where the murders took place is now a bed and breakfast.
You want to go stay?
Yes, I would love to. That'd be so fun.
Okay, so when we get like popular, we're going to go do a tour there so we can go stay in it.
Let's do it. So at this bed and breakfast where, obviously people can stay the night, you can sleep in the room where Abby was murdered. How fun!
Yay!
Slumber party.
The slumber party with Abby.
Let's go, girl.
And maybe some Lizzie.
And
Andrew.
Yeah, because that house is apparently super haunted, right?
Yes, it's on a lot of ghost shows.
Yeah, I remember a Ghost Adventures episode on it that was apparently like a special that they did.
Oh, really?
I think because I remember it being like Lizzie Borden murder. Maybe, I don't know.
No, they did.
Maybe it's like one of their first episodes, and maybe that's why I remember it because it was like
that was our time we watched it.
Yeah.
No, because I did, like I said, I watched Sam and Colby episode, and then I watched the BuzzFeed episode, which the BuzzFeed is super fun because one of the guys is like totally believes haunted stuff, and then the other one's super skeptic. So he actually called their brain matter oatmeal brain or something like that. I just caught her taking a drink of water.
Like a big old drink of water.
He literally called it like oatmeal brain soup or some shit like that. He's very funny to watch. It's only like a 20-minute episode. You should watch it after I leave.
I definitely need to look that up.
Aaron was like, what is this? What are you watching? And I was like, I had it on as I was doing research. So I was like, I'm just kind of getting some facts here.
We're getting in the zone.
So one of the things that I kind of learned from this episode, they have a lot of what you said, but then they also have just like random shit. Like how you said, no instrument is found. These people said that a hatchet is found, but it had no handle.
Oh, yeah, I read that.
But they didn't really say if it didn't,
They didn't test it.
No. It didn't say, but it was found in the basement,
Because
but just with no handle. So
I think that was why they didn't test it, because it didn't have a handle. So they're like, oh yeah, nobody used this.
yeah. So well, that's what in the show they blamed that. But I don't, everyone's research is going to be different. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's true.
But it never was tested for anything either.
There's so much information.
Yeah. And you said there's hatchets everywhere on the property. So
Yeah.
what's to say it's that one versus the others?
Right. And I just feel like a lot of the information can be very like mushed together in a case like this, because it's been so long and people have been researching it for so long.
Yeah, it's such a big deal.
Stuff gets like muddy.
Yeah.
Like what's real and what's not.
Yeah. The only thing you truly can go off of is testimony. That's
Right.
genuinely the only thing.
And I read them all.
Yeah. And you went through that. So that's the only thing you can truly go off
And
of.
it was so boring.
It is also really weird. It's so boring. It is so weird to me that in 1892, they waited a year to like trial her, basically. I'm like, what are you so busy with in 1892? When was the Salem witch trials? Was that like 1600s though?
Oh, sister, don't know. You were asking the wrong one.
Girl, same.
History was not my strong suit.
No.
I'm so sorry.
And then I'm married to like my husband. I'm like, hey, and he's like 1793. He is the most history buff. And I'm like, sure.
Damian really likes history too, but I don't know if he could tell me the answer to that question.
No, Aaron knows the most random shit.
Aaron, when was the Salem witch trials?
Well, 1776. Was that when we were established?
I'm not going to say anything that I think is correct.
Okay,
because
pause. I'm Googling when Salem witch trial was, because maybe that's what they were busy with instead of in Lizzie Borden.
There's no way. 1692.
For fucking what? The witch trials? Yeah. Damn, I'm 200 years off. Is that 200 years? I don't know. Yeah. Sure. 1692 versus 1892. What are the odds that it's both 92 though? Sus.
Coincidence?
Yeah, Lizzie got a witch in her. It's a witch ghost taking over. She's in Massachusetts. That's where it's all at, bro.
We are clinically insane.
Yes. I can't argue that. Okay, well.
What else you got for me? Anything else?
Well, they're not busy with witch trials, so.
Yeah, scratch that.
But it's crazy that they're busy for a whole year before they can get to her. But it does feel weird to me because 1892, when you say it, it's like, wow, that sounds long ago.
It was.
But then the name Lizzie Borden sounds like yesterday. Like it sounds so much closer.
There's so much stuff on it, I feel like.
It's just so wild.
Lizzie Borden is a liar and a murderer.
She's a lying liar that lies. Guilty.
Gavel bang.
You killed my pigeons with an axe, I'm killing you with an axe, and that's just how this is going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Eye for an eye, Dad. Sorry.
Yeah.
But why did she kill Abby first?
Well, she's going to kill her dad, who's the inheritance going to go to her stepmom she doesn't like.
Oh, yes. That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, so she had to take her out first.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to kill my dad because he killed my pigeons, and that really makes me grumpy. But I got to kill her. Yeah, I got to kill her first, or else I'm getting nothing out of this because we don't like one another.
Yeah.
And she's not going to give me anything. So she's got to go too.
Yeah. There's just a lot to it. So y'all let me know what you think about Lizzie Borden. If you didn't know about her, now you know.
Yeah. No.
So tell me what you think.
We told Murphy that we were doing Lizzie Borden, and she said, who's that?
Hopefully I answered all the questions.
Yeah, but I feel like the people who are going to find us know who Lizzie Borden is.
Yeah, hello.
To finish out this episode, if you are still here and enjoyed everything today, leave an axe emoji in the comments. Yeah, let's stay toxic. Also, wherever you found us, if you could just leave a like and a review, a comment, subscribe, all the good things so more people can find us. We have accounts set up on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Give us a follow. Like I said, comment. Our username for the most part is Sisters of the Strange, but if you can't find it, like if you are on one account and you can't find the other accounts, I have all of our account information in the show notes. If you have any personal stories you'd like to share and have read, email them to sistersofthestrangepodcast@gmail.com. I will also have that in the show notes. We do not know exactly when we'll start doing listener stories, but it would be kind of nice to be able to throw them in at the end of little episodes like this, because these episodes are going to tend to be probably a little bit shorter than whenever we do our research together in other episodes. That might be nice if you could just kind of send us those. And we also are going to get a Patreon going, and so they might be kind of something that we throw into the Patreon. We'll figure it out more, but if you have a story that you'd like shared, just send it to us.
Or if you just want to say hi.
Yeah, talk to us. I literally made friends with the Starbucks barista today on the way to record.
Shameless plug.
Shameless. She literally was like, can I follow you? And I felt like such an ass because I didn't tip her, and I normally tip.
On accident.
Yes, it was totally an accident. I always tip. Well, I pulled up to the window and I didn't have my card out yet. And I was like, my brain's not working. It's almost 8 o'clock at night. And clearly I'm here to get coffee. I was like, I don't know why I don't have my card out. And then I got my card out and she handed me the machine and I started talking to her and I was like, yeah, I'm going to record a podcast because she said, shameless. But then I just started talking to her and then I just was going through the motion and I was like, I don't know why I clicked that. I always at least click $1. So
if that was you,
I'm sorry, I'll find you again.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, I owe you like $10 instead of $1. Again, thank you to those who are here and following us on this journey with the Sisters of the Strange.
That's us.
Unfortunately, I'm kidding. Yeah.
No, seriously, thanks for y'all's support and we will see y'all in the next episode.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.